So when we started the walk-in Myco tent series, first thing we did was we covered our humidity. We built a humidifier that's going to be powerful enough to supply our tent with all the relative humidity that we need to fruit out whatever type of fungi we want to fruit out in there. Part 2, we covered our tent, our racks, and our lights. And in part 3, we're going to bring it all together, get it up and running so you guys can start using it and put out some massive flushes in your walk-in Myco tent. This is part 3. Let's go.
Dripping on acid in the hotel lobby. Everything moving hella fast, Ricky Bobby. Floating in the ethers. Listen to the ethers, you can probably tell the future. Superhuman man.
What's going on, Chip Team? First of all, I want to welcome you guys back to a brand new video. Now, if this is your first time ever seeing a Willy Myco video, welcome to the Chip Team family. I'm Willy Myco, and if you're into the psychedelic lifestyle, the psychedelic culture, you know, mycology, you want information, harm reduction, you want a community to be part of, then I think you guys found a home. Just take a second, go down below, show me that love, hit the subscribe button and the bell off to the side so that way you guys know when I drop a new video. As always, all my social media is right here, so if you guys want to follow me on Instagram or Twitter or anything like that, or even go that extra mile, get extra content, you want to be a member in my private chat room, you want to have one-on-one Skype calls with me so I could help you out with your projects or anything like that, then check out my Patreon. We don't monetize any videos here on YouTube, so that's how we keep the ball rolling. That's how we keep things funded and we keep putting out new content, is you guys. And I want to thank every single one of you guys that support me on Patreon, because if it wasn't for you, we would have never gotten to where we are today. So I really want to just tell you guys how much I love you and appreciate you guys, because I love what I do and it wouldn't be possible without you. Now, with all that off to the side, we're going to be getting into the final part of our walk-in Myco tent. Now, if you guys have been following along, you know in part 1 we did the humidifier, part 2 racks, lights, and tents, and now today we're going to be getting into setting up our humidifier to our tent. We're going to be talking about how we're going to control the humidity, make sure it's in that perfect range. We're going to be talking about temperatures and things like that. So hopefully you guys are pumped up to get your tent finished. So first we need to talk about a couple more things that you need to wrap up your tent. So the first thing you guys are going to need is a humidity controller, or what's also known as an RH controller. So what this is it's a device that you plug your humidifier and your dehumidifier, if you guys have one, into, and you set your parameters for how much RH or relative humidity you want in a certain area. So this works not just for our grow tent, but if you guys wanted to control the humidity inside your house or inside of a wine cellar or something like that, then this would also work for that. So the RH controller I'm actually using is from a company called Inkbird. They're very cheap. They're only about $40 and they're really, really reliable and accurate. Now, the best part about these RH controllers is if the probe for some reason ever goes bad, you could purchase a probe. You don't need to buy a whole new unit. You could purchase a probe for $10 or $12, switch it out, and you guys are good to go. It also comes with a warranty, so when you guys open it up, if you want to fill out the warranty card, and if it went bad within the first year, you guys could just send it back and they'll replace it absolutely free. You guys, they'll cover shipping and everything. I've used many different types of RH controllers over the years. Some are better than others. I've been using this Inkbird RH controller for the past 2 years. I haven't had one problem. I haven't had to replace the probe. None have shorted out on me, and it's very accurate. So it keeps a really tight percentage. It doesn't vary too much. So once you guys set it, it's pretty spot on. Now, once you guys have your RH controller, now you guys need some way to tell the temperature and preferably the RH. So I'm using this right here. It's relatively cheap. I got this one from shroomsupply.com, but you guys could get it on Amazon or eBay or wherever you guys want to go shop. But if you guys do go to shroomsupply.com, you guys could use the code Willy, save 10%. They're one of the companies that support the channel and support what we're doing, so they give us a discount code for you guys. So if you want to go use that, it takes 10% off your entire order, no matter what you get, not just one item, off the entire order. As you guys can see, this also has a probe, so this is going to be hanging right next to our RH controller probe, so that way we could look at the temperature, monitor the temperature without actually having to go inside the tent. The good part about it having a RH feature or a hydrometer feature is that we can make sure our RH controller is on point, that they're synced up, and that there's no crazy variation between the two. If we see a drastic difference between the two, we know one of them is off and we need to check them and recalibrate them if necessary. You guys are also gonna need your humidifier. Now, in part one, we built a monster humidifier. If you didn't see that, make sure you go back and check it out because you guys are gonna need that if you're using a 5x5 tent, like a walk-in tent like we're using. Because if you guys try to just go buy a Cool Mist humidifier from Walgreens or Target or Walmart or something like that, it's not gonna be powerful enough to supply your tent with the amount of humidity that you're gonna need. We need to keep a humidity above 80% at all times, as close to 95, 90% as possible. And with one of them small humidifiers, you're not gonna be able to accomplish that in a 5x5 tent. So you definitely need to build a lot stronger humidifier. So that's what we did in part one. Once you guys have your RH controller, your humidifier, and your thermometer, hydrometer, you guys are all set. We could start putting it together. So let's stop right here and move over to the tent. All right, guys. So we're inside the tent right now. We have our racks all set up. And as you guys can see, last time I had one of the racks on this side, I switched it over to this side because I'm going to be running my humidity through this side. So I needed that space. And that's the benefit about having a 2-rack system, like I told you guys in the last video. Now, I already set my humidifier up. I already have it running into the tent. So I'm going to show you guys how I did that right now. Now, when I set my humidifier up, if I'm not keeping it in the tent by itself, like I told you guys in part one, you could actually place it inside the tent, drill some holes, and just let the humidity pour out of the humidifier if you guys wanted to do that. I actually like to use the ducting and I run it to one of the inlets in my tent. Now, I won't use one of these inlets up here or one of the inlets at the top. The reason for that is I don't want the humidity falling down onto my substrate. I don't want it keeping my substrate wet. Because if you guys keep your substrate wet all the time, what's going to end up happening is you're going to get terrible flushes. In order for mushrooms to stop pinning, at least for most mushrooms, they need to sense some type of evaporation. Evaporation is one of the main pinning triggers. So that's the reason why we mist and fan. We mist lightly and then we fan because we're kind of trying to trick the mycelium into thinking its water supply or its moisture inside the substrate is starting to run out, so it needs to push up mushrooms so it continue its life cycle and things like that. So that's why we mist and fan. We don't mist to reintroduce moisture into the substrate. There's already enough moisture inside the substrate to sustain the mushrooms through their first flush and sometimes even their second flush. So we just mist and fan just to initiate or to trigger pinning. So what I like to do to avoid that from happening is I use one of the inlets at the bottom of the tent to pump my RH or my humidity into the tent. So I'm going to show you guys what that looks like right now. So as you guys can see, this is one of the inlets at the bottom of the tent. And I got my ducting from my humidifier running through. And then we have our racks and everything over here. So since we have our humidifier ducting running through the bottom of the tent in one of those inlets, we're gonna go right up and through this inlet right here, we're actually gonna run our RH controller probe and also the probe for our hydrometer thermometer right through here, and we're gonna hang it over one of the bars right here so that it's hanging down in the middle of our tent so we can get an accurate reading for the tent. If we put it too close to the ducting or we put it too close to the light source or something like that, we're gonna get an inaccurate reading. It's gonna be too hot or too cold or too much RH or not enough RH. So the best way to do it is to hang it down off of one of these bars and let it hang down in the middle of your tent so you get a much more accurate reading. So this is what it looks like from the outside. So we have it running right through the inlet. We have access to it right here. I could put it sideways or however I want to put it. And then we have it coming out right there on the inside. All right, guys, so the first thing you want to do is take your RH controller, take the probe of the RH controller and right through one of the top inlets. It doesn't need to be on the same side as the RH unit itself or the humidifier. You guys just want to run the probe through to the other side. Then you guys want to take your hydrometer thermometer, you want to take the probe, and you want to run it through there as well. Now let's move inside the tent, and I'm going to show you guys how to hang it up the correct way so you guys get an accurate reading. All right, so as you can see, I got both of my probes right here. It's running through our inlet. So what I want to do is take one of my bars. So I got this bar right here that I'm not using for anything, and I want to run them over the top of the bar and bring them down to the middle of your tent. Just like that. Now, this is going to give you a much more accurate reading because it's going to be taking a reading from this area. It's not too close to your light. It's not too close to the source of the humidity. So you're going to get a much more accurate reading for the ambient temperature and RH of the entire tent. Once you guys have both of these running through your tent, now what you could do is if you want to zip tie them to the pole, you guys could do that. And you also want to close up the inlet. So the inlet that you ran them through, you want to close it as tight as possible. So now let me show you guys how to hook up the RH controller to your humidifier so we can get it up and running. All right guys, so I got it hanging up. So what I did was I just used a little C-clamp. I clipped it through there and clipped it through here, and it's all set. So the first thing you need to do is take the power supply for the RH controller itself and plug it in. All right guys, so our RH controller is powered on. It's working the way it should be working. It comes with an instruction manual that walks you through everything. I'm just gonna give you guys a brief run over of how it actually works. All right guys, so we have our RH controller right here. I'm just gonna show you guys how to set it. So as you guys can see, work 1 is lit up. So if you guys look at the outlets, you have work 1 and work 2. So work 1 is for your humidifier and work 2 is for your dehumidifier. So if you guys have a dehumidifier, you'd plug it into work 2 and work 1 is for your humidifier. So that's the outlet that we're gonna be using. So I have it set at 90 right now, and the RH in the room, the ambient RH is 65.7. I'm sweating balls. It's so hot in here, but I can't turn on the AC or it would be too loud. So in order to set what you want your RH at, you hold down the set button for 3 seconds and you'll see HS appear on the screen. This is your humidity setting. So we have it set at 90. Then you hit the set button one more time and HD will show up. This is humidity differential. So what you want to do is set this wherever you want the differential to be. So this means that there'll be a variation in humidity within 5%. So it could go all the way up to 95% or all the way down to 85% because we have it set at 90. Now, I'm gonna show you guys a couple more things. So that's our humidity setting, humidity differential. You guys can lower this if you wanna lower it so it stays more on point. Then right here, this is dehumidification. And then you guys have your high alert. So if it goes up to 100%, it will alert you. Then you have your low alert. You guys could set it, so put it at 75 or 70%. And if it goes to 75 or 70%, it will alert you that your RH is too low. But as soon as you guys set your setting, like we have here at 90%, work 1 will automatically turn on, which means it's gonna turn on your humidifier right away. And it's gonna work its way up to 90, and once it gets to 90, it will shut off. It will go to work 2. And since we don't have a dehumidifier plugged into work 2, it's not gonna turn on a dehumidifier. Now you guys don't wanna set it to 100% because if you guys set it to 100%, what will end up happening is your humidifier will just run all the time, constantly, trying to get up to 100%, which is pretty much soaking wet. You guys don't want that. 90% or above, or even slightly below, is perfectly fine for any type of mushroom you're gonna be cultivating inside this tent. So now that I showed you guys how to set your setting and where it should be at, Now we're gonna set everything up so you guys could see it up and running. All right, guys, so here we go. We have it set at 90%. The humidity inside the tent right now is 63.3%. Now, I won't put any trays or anything in there, any substrates of fruit, until I get the correct RH. So my humidifier is on right now. I'll show you guys. So that's right down here on the floor. And as you guys can see, it's working. Now, I also got my hydrometer thermometer right here. And I'll just leave it up there so I have both in one location so I can make sure that they're accurate. So as you can see, my hydrometer over here is saying 62% inside the tent, and my RH controller is saying 63%. So they're about 1% off, but that's pretty good. You're gonna get an accurate reading and they're not that far apart. So if you see a drastic difference, you could tell if something's wrong. So now that everything's all set up here with our RH controller, our humidifier, our hydrometer, thermometer, now we can move back inside the tent so we could see how everything looks and we could talk about some final details. So you guys could already see the humidity coming through from our humidifier that's on this side. So eventually the humidity inside of our tent will build up to where we have it set. Right here we have the probes for our hydrometer, thermometer, and our RH controller running up and out one of our outlets. And then we have our feed or our duct for our humidifier. Once I zip up this tent, what's gonna end up happening is the RH is gonna build up inside the tent really, really fast. I'd say within the next 24 hours, we should be ready to put substrate inside this tent, maybe even a lot earlier or a lot sooner than that. But give it about 24 hours to let the humidity build up and let everything get to where it needs to be before you guys start throwing any trays or anything inside this tent. So once you have your humidity feeding into the tent, you guys are pretty much all set. So now what we need to do is we need to hook up our light. And as you guys remember in part 2, I have it hooked up to a timer that is set for 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Now you guys could adjust that 12-12 to fit your lifestyle. So if you want the lights to turn on at night for 12 hours or during the day for 12 hours, it's completely up to you. You just adjust it however you guys see fit. Now me personally, I like my lights to turn on at night while the house or the area is a lot cooler, because during the day, especially during the summer, it could get really hot. So once you have the lights running and everything on, it could raise the temperature in the tent a good amount. So I like my lights to turn on at night when it's a lot cooler, so that way I don't get crazy fluctuations in the temperature. I want to try to keep my temperature in that perfect range. Now, if you guys are having an issue with your temperature, it's getting too hot inside the tent, then try doing that. Try having your light schedule run at nighttime versus during the daytime. Sometimes that will help it fluctuate or lower the temperature by a good 10 degrees. Another thing you could do is you could get a stand-up portable AC unit if it's getting too hot. Now with one light like we have here in their cool running LEDs, you guys really shouldn't have to worry about that. You just want to try to keep the temperature, like I said, between 70 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. You guys could even get up there closer to 80 degrees or even lower towards 60 degrees. But if you guys could keep it between 70 and 75, you guys will be spot on for most mushrooms that you guys are trying to cultivate. And that's pretty much it. So once you guys seal up this tent and the RH builds up to where you guys have it set, in our case, we have it set at 90%. Once it hits that, you guys can start throwing trays in here and fruiting immediately. Like I said, walk-in Myco tents or grow tents are the best because it's a controlled environment, and if you need something higher or lower, you could simply control it with a few clicks of a button. It's not a big deal. Now, when you guys are using shotgun fruiting chambers and monotubs and things like that, you guys are always going to be fighting issues with temperature and RH and things like that. But when you guys are using walk-in Myco tents, you guys can control the environment a lot more consistently and much easier. And that's pretty much all there is to a walk-in Myco tent. And there you go, guys. It's that simple. Now your tent is up and running and it's ready to use. So once you guys have your colonized substrate, whether that's you're using tubs, trays, cakes, anything like that, you could just take them once they're fully colonized, put them inside of your tent, and it's up and running. It's gonna have the perfect humidity, it's gonna have the perfect light schedule. All you guys need to do is go in there, lightly mist and fan each day, 3 times a day, and that's it. Now, if you guys want the best results, then I suggest going in there, misting and fanning lightly 3 to 4 times a day. That's where you're gonna get the best results. Now, if you guys are on a time crunch, you know, you work 2 jobs or 3 jobs, you go to school, you're not gonna be home enough to mist and fan 3 to 4 times a day, then a full walk-in tent might not be the best option for you. Now, if that's the case, don't worry. You could still enjoy mycology, you could still do what you wanna do, but you should look more towards the automated monotub. I also got that video. If you guys go into my library, look at my videos, look for the automated monotub. That's gonna be what you want. That's pretty much, once it's colonized, you guys just set up your automated monotub with the misting and fanning, and it does its thing. And you don't have to worry about it. You just come back at harvest, and you guys harvest, and then you guys move on to flush 2 and 3 and whatever. So that's gonna be your option if you guys don't have much time. This is more for people that wanna become more experienced cultivators, more experienced mycologists that want much bigger yields and the freedom to have multiple different things going at the same time. When you guys wanna step your game up, your mycology game or your mushroom cultivation game, you guys definitely want to start working inside tents. It's its own fruiting chamber. It's a controlled environment that you guys can grow whatever you want in there. I mean, you could grow anything from your cubes to shiitake to oyster to reishi to whatever type of mushrooms you guys want to grow in here, you guys could grow. Now, depending what type of mushrooms it is, let's just say, for instance, cubes. We want to keep a high RH, so we want to try to have it as close or above 90% at all times. We want to try to keep the temperatures around 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, and we want to have a 12 on, 12 off light cycle. We want to mist and fan 3 to 4 times a day. So when I say mist, we want to go in there, mist lightly, and we want to fan for 60 plus seconds each individual tray or each individual cake or whatever the case may be. But if you guys are growing something else that requires a much lower RH or, you know, a different light schedule or something like that, you guys just adjust it. Adjust your light timer. You guys could take your RH controller, adjust the humidity, lower it down, raise it up, whatever you guys gotta do, and it's completely controlled. And you guys just monitor it throughout the day. They also sell RH controllers, thermometers, that you could actually have it alert you on your phone. So if you guys are at work and you want to check in on the temperature and RH percentage and things like that, you guys could actually look on your phone and it's all synced up through Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, and you guys will get alerts if it's running too low, running too hot, things like that, and you can make adjustments from your phone, which is a really cool option for some of you people that might have to work long hours, that might not be home for many hours at a time. But this is how you step things up. This is how you really start producing and really start expanding your mycology career. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. This was a highly requested video that you guys have been asking me for a long time, and I'm happy I was able to knock it out for you guys, and I tried to make it as simple as possible so that anybody coming from the bottom up could jump into this and start doing it. I love doing stuff like this, but we got so much good stuff that's about to drop on this channel. I can't wait to share with you guys, like my web series. You guys are gonna be able to travel with me to different countries. We go wild mushroom foraging, check out the different cultures, things like that, which is just absolutely amazing. And we're gonna be doing so much more. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I love you guys. I'm Willy Myco. Do good, be good, live good. Namaste.